and I actually started writing songs, but they weren't really that good until I went home one morning and I just typed on YouTube like a random hip hop beat, and from there I just started writing like lyrics in my head that flowed nice together, and then I just started recording it, and then I showed my parents the song. They actually liked the song, so I was like, "This is something I could possibly do one day when I get older."
Oh, for sure. And like within like your musical like background and history and all that, like did you have like any like family that like kind of got into music and all that, and or people who were like in bands and all that that kind of like inspired you for a little bit like in that sense?
I actually have a sister. My sister's also she does songwriting, but doesn't perform, but she does lyrics, and I also have her help me with songs as well.
Oh, sure. And just getting more onto your inspiration, what inspired you to become like a rapper and an artist?
I noticed that when I started writing different songs that were heavy hitting, hard hitting to the soul, I noticed people started to come up to me and say how my music helped me, how helped them. And from that moment, I just wanted to inspire people with my lyrics and let them know that's okay to not feel okay, and life gets better, and to always just keep going.
Nah, for sure, for sure. And in terms of like getting into music, building within your own sound and all that, who are you like influenced by, like, and who would you like to work with like musically someday and all that?
For sure, there's a few of them. Kendrick Lamar is one of my top artists. J. Cole, Drake, Eminem, Missy Elliott.
Like as far as like new artists, too in that sense, I didn't want to like backtrack. Are you like tapping in more of like like Lil Baby or Gunna or like Ice Spice or like Glorilla, like those types of artists?
Yeah, I like those. Like them too. I also like Lolo Brooks.
True.
Yeah, their style is very they stay true to themselves, which what I like most about these new artists. They don't try to be something that they're not,
Yeah.
even if they get hated for it.
No, 100% too. And just like even like shifting within like the focus within women like in rap nowadays too. Like how do you even like feel about it like right now? Because I remembered way back then there wasn't like really like a lot of like support for women getting into rap until Cardi B, Saweetie, Make the Stallion, like they sort of came by, and then it opened like other lanes for like other women in rap to kind of take over and all that. And just like seeing it at first hand, like how do you even like feel about it like right now?
I feel like it's good. I feel like the females are really killing it and just staying true to themselves, and doesn't matter if they get hated on. Like Megan Thee Stallion, I know gets hated on a lot, but she still does her thing no matter what the haters say, because she's just true to herself. That's what you have to be true to yourself in this industry. You can't try to fake a persona, because no one will relate to you as much as we try to fake it.
Yeah, no, 100% too. And do you feel like it's like the same within the industry, like in Toronto and all that, for like the women like in rap that are like taking over right now, like with Rax, Terror Lord, Goldie London, like all those other people?
Yeah, I feel like they're also killing it too. Also stay true to themselves. I really fuck with Rax and Tar Lord. Actually, they're very
True.
dope artists as well.
True, 100% too. And getting back onto focus right now, like what do you bring to the table as like a rising artist in the Toronto GTA Canadian music scene, and what makes you like different from the rest in order for like people to like tap in that sense?
That's a good question. I would say the main thing is how authentic I am. I don't try to be someone that I'm not. My lyrics are about real life events that I've been through, and also events that I know other people can relate to. I try to spread a message to everybody, and the impact that I've been getting from people has been amazing, and people haven't really been messing with my vibe so far.
Yeah, not 100% too. And just to get more onto like the project right now, it's time. I actually like the cover art for it because like it's like two chess pieces like on one table and all that, and like the layout, it's like very black and white, which is like very interesting too. There was like some interesting production as well from like a lot of like producers from like the States and all that, which is like interesting to see and all that. And I wanted to figure out like what was like that whole creative process and inspiration for that.
For sure. I've been talking about dropping a project since 2019, but I haven't really found myself in music until probably just recently. I went to Vancouver for 4 months and was able to spend every day in the studio from the daytime to midnight and just working on different sounds. And that was like the whole inspiration. I always I'm the type of person who's always very down on myself and hard on myself. So I felt like now it's my time to show people that what I really got coming and stop messing with my potential, because I feel like I have a lot.
Yeah, no, 100% too. And, just like even this whole like Vancouver situation too, because like you were in the city for like 4 months for like making music straight, and like you were performing shows out there and all that. So how was that experience like, being in a specific city, like traveling around and like just like even being in the studio for a bit too? Like what did you notice from that versus like, being in Toronto and all that?
It was very dope. I feel like I met a lot of great, amazing people in Vancouver now that I can really call them like my best friends now, and they really actually helped me change up my sound. I used to be just full on rapping, but now I want to do like singing now. I and change up how I give off a lyric and stuff, and it's definitely different. I feel like the artists in Vancouver support each other more and always want to see other people win. And in Toronto, I feel like there's so much animosity and everyone's just trying to outdo everyone else.
True. And like even from like a first-hand experience, like have you noticed this like when going to events or like when linking up with people, like the whole like animosity between like other artists like within Toronto?
Actually, I haven't noticed it, but I've heard a lot about that. But for the shows that I've done, everyone has been very supportive towards me. Just when it comes with collaborations, everyone just acts like they're on top of or better than.
Yeah, no, 100% too. And just getting back onto like topic for a bit too, like what is your creative process like when making like song and all that, and like what would like a day in making or recording like music be like for you, like in that sense?
The process I tend to usually write in the midnight, from like maybe from 12 to 3 sometimes in the morning, 'cause I feel like my thoughts are less active in the nighttime. I'm able to just focus on just writing songs. And then I find beats on YouTube, or now I'm actually starting to learn to make my own beats. That way I have more of creative flow to my work. And then I just try to, the lyrics that I write down, I try to just rap over it on a different beat. And sometimes they work well, or at times I have to change up my lyrics.
Yeah, no, for sure and all that. And, like in most like cases too, like with studios and all that, like it's like a whole like different process and all that. Like some people like they kind of blaze up, or like they kind of like drink to be in that element and all that. In other cases too, like they just play with like the lighting and all that, or they have a policy where, only a certain amount of people or only just like no people at all and all that. So that'd be like in the studio and all that, my bad on that. But just like in your sense, like how is your studio vibe and all, like in that sense too? Like what do you like mainly do?
In the studio, I like the lights to be dark, so I can't really be seen by other people. And when it comes to people, I don't like people really being in the studio when I'm recording. And I drink tea and water as I'm going over each verses.
Yeah, no, for sure and all that. And who do you like when you're in the studio too? Like, what do you look for like in an engineer or producer and all that, like to kind of get that sound that you're looking for, like in that sense? So.
Someone who can give me honest feedback about my work, because I've been in other studios where they'll just say it's okay, but even though I know in my heart that it's not okay, they just don't give the right enough feedback. The studio I go to now, he's honest with how I produce a lyric and gives the best advice that I need to help me.
Yeah, no, for sure and all that. And I think it's just like, like even like looking for producers too and all that. So like I know with some of the songs, like they're like used from like other like artists as well too. So have you ever like managed to like look for like a certain producer or like a certain style that might fit like your style, like like locally, like in that sense?
I like going and using many different producers. I had a producer in Vancouver that really did an amazing job on my song Roller Coaster, and I was able to give the perfect sound that I needed for that song to come out on top.
Yeah, no, for sure. And, just getting back onto, like, on topic for a bit, too, how did you get your stage name, Lilmiss?
Unfortunately, there's not really a backstory to this particular name. I came up with this name when I was very young, when I was 16. For some reason, I just came up with Lilmiss, and then as I got older, the name just stuck with me.
For sure. And have you ever felt like it kind of like stood out like within like the rest and all that too? Because I know some people, like when they have like Lil in their names, it's like, little like dog and all that, or little like Bob, or little this and all that. So have you ever felt like, sometimes too, it could be like an issue, or if you wanted to like transition like out of that name, or do you feel like it matches like perfectly with what you're going on right now?
feel like right now, I feel like right now it fits me good. I feel like it's very unique and nobody has that name. It's just very different. And but in the future, I definitely am open to changing it one day.
Yeah, no, for sure and all that. And, you know, getting more onto the whole like promoter story too. So like after like even that first show that happened, like what was it like, you know, like going to like from different show to different show, and how was it like interacting with like different audiences in that sense?
For sure. The first show that I went to, it was actually one of my biggest shows that I did because before I did open mic nights and just for fun, and the crowd liked my music there too. And for the first show, I was very, very nervous, didn't know what I was doing, and even though I did okay, I still felt like I could have done better, more interactive with the crowd and just giving more energy. And then as I started doing more and more shows, I feel like that energy progressed, and I've had people even tell me that, wow, like you did, like your stage presence has definitely changed over the years that you've done shows. And so far the shows have been really amazing so far, and the crowds have been really rocking with my music that I give, because it's just real music that I like to give my audience.
Yeah, no, 100% too. And, you know, when you perform on stage or like when you like hop on the stage, like do you have any like rituals like you kind of do like before you go on stage, or is there like a process like needed in order to have a good like Lilmiss set, like in that sense too?
Yeah, good question. I usually take a shot or two before I go on stage just to help me loosen up. And when I usually when I do that, the show usually does good.
Yeah, no, exactly. No, I definitely know what you mean too. I saw like this interview from like Rax like a while back, and like I remember like before she would go like perform on stage and all that, she would actually like sleep and all that too, to kind of get in that element and like be in that mood too and all that. And there's actually like this other rapper in that sense too, like a US rapper. It might be a little mundane in that sense too, but this guy named Young Chris. So before he like performs and all that, you know, he has to go use the bathroom like in like another way and all that to kind of like get that element out to kind of perform and all that. And for some people, like it does kind of work out and all that. For others, it's like, you know, get your drink on, or you kind of get your nap on, or get your food on, and like, you know, you're good to go and all that, you know?
For sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely drinking helps me, for sure.
Nah, for sure. And, you know, when you're in the crowd and all that, like, what do you tend to see, like, when you perform and all that? Like, how do you, like, what do you notice when you see, like, people, like, looking at you, like, perform and all that? Do you see, like, certain, like, emotions that kind of come by and all that, or?
For sure. For some of the songs I do, I have a song called Roller Coaster, and the song is more on the low side, but also very energetic. And I see people always, you know, putting their hands up in the air for that every time that song comes on all the time. And I always get good feedback when I come off the stage, and that was like the song that stuck out for them the most.
Yeah, no, 100% too. And like, you know, like after like a performance and all that, like have people like ever come up to you, like, you know, when you were like just like, at the bar or just like by the side and all that, and they told like how you were like a good performer, or like how like that song like meant for you, like in that sense too?
For sure, yeah. There's been a couple of times when I come off the stage and they always shake my hand and say that was really good, or keep going, I have a lot of potential. And sometimes they even ask to collab with me as well.
Oh, for sure. No, 100% too. And, you know, just like even in that aspect too, how is it like, you know, performing all over, like especially like performing like all over Toronto, like all over like Canada and all that, like in Vancouver, because you don't see like a lot of like up and coming Toronto artists like even going to like those areas like in Vancouver or in Ottawa or in Montreal, unless you're doing showcases for, like, with like Freddie Fame or with other people and all that. Like how is that progression like in diversion, that aspect of music?
The progression has been amazing. My first show in Vancouver is actually through one of my friends that he's also a promoter. And he reached out to me and asked me to come over to Vancouver. I went there in March. It was like a really good show. A lot of amazing uprising talents in Vancouver, and a lot of collabs that I have coming up with a few of them from Vancouver as well.
No, 100% too. And like for the shows that you've performed at, have you ever managed to like get paid for those shows and all that, or is it like still like in that process right now in order to get paid?
For some of the shows I get paid for. The one I did in Brampton, they paid me for a show that was actually a free one of the free shows that I was asked to be on. Oh
no, that's like a win right there and all that, you know, because it is important for, you know, artists to get like pay to perform and all that. It's not like you pay to like play and all that. It's like
Yeah.
you'd rather get paid to kind of do what you love and all that, and like it kind of works out. And I think with some promoters too, it's like finding like the right money to finding like the right budget too, because there's a lot to go like when it comes to performing at a show and all that. You're paying your bar people, you're paying like the venue, you're paying like the artist, you're paying your DJ, you're paying your dancers or all these other people too, or you're paying like the door person as well too, and like security as well. So it's like a whole big like process right there and all that, and it's
Exactly,
just
yeah.
like knowing like when to budget right and all that. Like I know with some shows too, it could be like a chaos like right there and all that, and then like with other shows, it kind of becomes like better and all that. So it's like
For sure, yeah, 100%.
for sure. And just like within immersing in the Toronto GTA music scene, like how is it like like even like immersing right now like within those scenes? Was there ever sorry, was there ever any opportunities for you to branch out and interact with like many artists like within like the scene and all that? Like I know you were like performing with Spitty like a while back, you were doing like other shows and all that. You've linked up with like Rax and like Sarah Lord and all that. So
For sure. There's been many opportunities I've met a lot of amazing people at different shows that I've went to. We talked about doing many collaborations, but everyone's so busy with their own schedule that it's very hard to link up with people now to do music. But so far, I've met a lot of amazing talents in Toronto.
yeah, no, 100% too. And what I've noticed about you, too, and all that is like, when I check out like the stories and all that, it's like you reposting like a lot of like local or up and coming artists like in the game and all that, showing support, showing love and all that. Usually some artists too, like they kind of do that. Others, it's like they post like within like inspiration too. So how do you even like value like the importance of like supporting your friends or supporting like local instead of promoting like or supporting like like the mainstream or already up artists and all that?
That's a good question. It's a huge thing for me. I try to do those posts like at least every couple of weeks, shout out new different people, and people have actually respected me a lot because of that, because it's not very big thing that people do, because everyone just wants to race to the top, whereas I want to see everybody win and be successful. And I shout out my friends, people that I don't even know on Instagram, and it's something that I like doing because everyone deserves to get recognitions for their talents.
Yeah, no, 100% too. And I know with some people too, it's like like supporting like local before global and all that. And I do feel like it should change for like even like in Toronto too. Like as you said, you can't be like this whole like screw face like capital type thing. We have to kind of work together to kind of be within that element too. And even aside from that, how do you even like feel about the Toronto or like GTA Canadian music scene right now? Do you feel that there should be some changes on where like those scenes should go to, or do you feel like it's like fine the way it is?
The main thing I would say is the support. The support is something that's lacking, and I feel like everyone has a lot of talent, but it's also good to support other artists too, not just put yourself on this high pedestal. And there's other people that need the recognition as well, and not just the animosity and the support is something that I feel like should change, and everyone should support other people instead of putting them down.
Yeah, no, 100% too. And like even with certain opportunities going on, like I do feel like there should be like a lot of like importance within like the infrastructure, the support system, like everything else too. Because I mean, we've had like Rolling Loud, we've had DJ Academics, we've had like other people like come in, try to help out too. And like even like within those aspects, do you feel like it has like helped Toronto a lot, or is there more that like needs to be done in that sense?
For sure, I feel like people are taking Toronto a bit more seriously because of the Rolling Loud, and they have a lot of different artists, a lot of local artists on the stage. I know Sarah Lord was on Rolling Loud, and she did an amazing job on there. And I feel like Toronto is starting to get looked at a lot more because of all these festivals that they're putting on for us now.
No, for sure and all that. And we just have some of these questions left in that sense too. For people that want to get to know more about you and all that, because like there are like people watching that might want to tap in, or like others, from different profiles, like from your profile, from my profile, that want to know more. Name 3 songs in your catalog that you would like to recommend for any person that has not heard about you before, or that would like to know more from you, like in that sense.
For sure. I would say the first song would be Find My Way. Roller Coaster, and Ballin', just because the vibe of Ballin' is very different. It's more like more like catching a beat than the roller coaster and find my way. It's more of telling people to always just keep going and never hold yourself back. And even though days are bad, eventually days will get better.
Yeah, no, for sure. And, I'm definitely going to put that, like, on the playlist that, I usually have for, like, people to tap in.
Okay.
Trying to, like, promote that more and all that so that, people can, like, kind of, like, get to know certain people on the platform or artists that I've linked up with, or even, like, artists, like, in the scene right now and all that. So I'll definitely, like, add those, like, free and all that, so. And do you have any, like, regrets in your life overall, or do you, like, regret nothing and all that?
I have no regrets in my life. I feel like everything that has happened has been either a lesson or a blessing, and you can't hold yourself back by going to the past. I know there's been times where I was down on myself, but I have to just keep going and always know that there's better ahead than what's back what's back there.
Yeah, no, 100% too. And even like with you dealing with your story for a bit too, because I've listened to like some of the songs too, like there is like a lot of like emotion going for like a lot of challenges, pains, breakups, like a whole lot, like a whole lot of other stuff. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
But like even like it could like lead to a deterioration within mental health. But like with you, it's like the music is like a therapy or like as a way to cope with like the mental health and all that too. So even like aside from music, like what were like some other ways that you've tried to cope with like your mental health and all that, and in order to kind of remain like healthy, like in that sense?
A good question. I would honestly say music is the biggest thing, but also I'm filled with a lot of people who support me. I have a lot of great support systems. My family is one of them, and I have a lot of great friends that support me. And then if I need anything, I go to them and talk to them about my problems. And I try not to let what has happened in the past get me down, because I know that there's better ahead and better coming, and God doesn't put you through things unless he knows that you can get past them.
Yeah, no, for sure and all that. And do you have any other like plans for this year in terms of like music or creative projects and so forth?
Right now, I'm going to be dropping a single with my friend Isaac from Vancouver, hoping in November. And then right now I'm actually working on another project right now.
For sure and all that. Are there going to be like any like visuals from its time and all that? Like, I know like there should be like some visuals too, because I feel like when I do look at some of the songs too and all that, or like listen to them, I do feel that there should be some music videos like coming in and all that, and
most definitely, yeah.
And I think you're doing one with Pasalo Films, right?
I am, yeah. For Ballin, actually, yeah,
true.
yeah.
So I guess like it'll be like definitely like lit like when like we see like some like the behind the scenes and like all the other stuff too, like even like when the video drops too, So,
yeah, very excited to work on that with him. Actually, it's gonna be very dope.
For sure. And do you have any like closing remarks you'd like to say?
For sure. First, I want to say thank you for having me on the podcast. I really appreciate it. And if you have goals and dreams and you want to follow them, make sure you follow them. Don't let anybody stop you from doing what you want to do. Forget the haters and just keep going.
No, for sure. And, where can they follow you on IG?
They can follow me on Instagram at LilmissRaps_music. And Spotify and Apple Music is also Lilmiss Raps.
For sure and all that. So, Lilmiss, thank you for coming by like on the platform and all that too. It was like a pleasure like having you on, like speaking like more about your story and everything else too and all that. And, this is Josh, also known as Yashu. Thank you for tapping into the live stream right now for this very dope interview / podcast and all that. I'm trying to do like more of these, like if everyone's like down to set this up and all that. And yeah, it'll be lit. You'll definitely watch it right now. Like it'll still be like viewed like on YouTube and all that. You just have to kind of like scroll down and then you kind of find it right there. It'll also be on the podcast playlist as well too. And then the audio and everything else will be dropping soon on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Buzzsprout, and much more and all that. Always like kind of give your review on that. Definitely tap in and like definitely tap into Lilmiss with her music and all that. One of like the best rising artists right now and all that. So, and this is Josh, also known as Yashu, episode 53 of TLOY Talks. Thank you for tuning in to the second edition of the live stream too. I really appreciate that. We're signing off right now.